The White House under Donald Trump has had quite the makeover this year, and he's only just getting started. The gold, the music, it says it all. This is the Donald's new Gilded Age.
You can't imitate gold, real gold. There's no paint that imitates gold.
So these aren't like from Home Depot or something?
No, this is not Home Depot stuff.
No.
And it's not just the Oval Office. There's a new presidential Walk of Fame, which overlooks the Rose Garden, the turf now patio for fine dining. And the East Wing has been knocked down, ready for a new, huge ballroom.
And it's the highest level, and you see it goes beautifully with the White House. I mean, the mix is beautiful.
This is not just Trump's style, it's government policy. Among his more than 200 executive orders, this one, making federal architecture beautiful again. It says that classical and traditional architecture are preferred modes of architectural design, and it criticizes modernist and brutalist constructions that are unpopular with Americans. For Trump, brutalism isn't beautiful. The post-war movement that was functional, geometric, often concrete. Abundant not just across Washington, D.C., but in the UK too, most notably on London's South Bank.
So what we're going to track on this tour is the 50s, the 60s and the 70s.
Brutalism may have its detractors, but it also has admirers. This tour is run by the 20th Century Society, a charity that works to preserve certain buildings constructed after 1914. On this tour, a number of students from the United States. What do they make of their president's thoughts on architecture?
Think back to the Greeks, the Romans, the idea of classical architecture and empire. There can be a chance that he might want to emulate ideas of power.
I think historically too that this kind of neoclassicism and traditional architecture holds a sense of legitimacy and power and tradition.
Brutalism was opposed to the Greco-Roman designs that so many strongmen have adored throughout history.
The 20th century precedents of the Stalinist Russia and Nazi Germany, which had a preference for classical architecture. Modern architecture was celebrated for breaking away from that, of being democratic and egalitarian and open.
But while this type of post-war design sought to represent a new optimistic future, its critics argue it did the opposite.
Modernism, in a sense, came in architecture of elitism. Like, you had to have like a great degree of education or kind of knowledge in order to appreciate it.
Ben Pentreath is an architectural designer who has overseen the building of Poundbury, the town in Dorset that is King Charles's pet project. A place of Greek statues and columns, no high-rises, no concrete blocks.
On their side, the modernist side, they would say that the classical architecture side is very much associated with strong men, dictators, it's too nostalgic, it's not forward-thinking.
Yeah, you can say that if you want to. I mean, you know, exactly. I mean, I think that the whole question of kind of what's forward-thinking or not has become much more nuanced. But if it's just a question of what do the facades look like, then you're completely missing the point. And unfortunately, like, that is all too often the case. And I think a lot of debate about architecture is to do with what does it look like rather than how does it function.
I do admire brutalist architecture in some cases, and what I admire is that it was a time in history when architects were actually given a lot of license to put design front and centre. And I think that, to me, that's one thing that has really been diluted in recent years.
That seems to be the common theme on both sides of this divide, that architecture is about more than just binary types of style.
I feel quite convinced that the main thing that everyone feels, not just Donald Trump, is that we've had an epidemic of boringness in our towns and cities around us. And it's not about brutalism, traditionalism, it's about places that are engaging and getting more tuned into that.
If you could just talk a bit about this as well.
Thomas Heatherwick is a designer known for his eye-catching and inventive buildings. And while he criticises post-war architecture just like Trump and King Charles, he believes their solutions are too simplistic.
I think people wrongly latch on to, oh, we should go to classical, or we need to copy the past. I think what we actually need is modern buildings that are engaging, have meaning, and are interesting.
That's Lady Liberty.
Donald Trump has jumped into an architectural debate that King Charles began decades ago. where tradition is king and brutalism is a bore. But this is not really about the way our buildings look, but what purpose they serve, and whether we the people have much of a say in what surrounds us, or whether that's still in the hands of a few powerful people.